In the sun-drenched land of Florida, where dreams are often pursued with fervor, Isabella Rodriguez, now known as Isabella Helman, embarked on a journey that promised a future filled with hope and prosperity. Born in the vibrant cultural tapestry of Colombia in 1975, Isabella was nurtured by the rhythmic cadence of Spanish, a language that wove through the fabric of her daily existence. Yet her aspirations reached far beyond the borders of her homeland, fueled by the allure of the American dream. Isabella's determination was unwavering. She immersed herself in the English language, her tutors being the songs that echoed from her radio and the pages of books that whispered promises of new beginnings. With each word mastered, she edged closer to the life she envisioned. Her journey eventually led her to Florida, a place where she would lay the foundation of her future, becoming a real estate agent and a beacon for Spanish-speaking families seeking new homes and new lives. In February of 2002, Isabella wed William Helman, believing she had found a partner to share her dreams. Yet the union that began with hope soon unraveled into years marked by discord and disillusionment. The marriage, once a symbol of new beginnings, became a testament to endurance in the face of adversity. After a decade of strife, the couple faced the inevitable: divorce, a protracted ordeal that lingered for 2 arduous years. Amidst the turmoil, fate introduced Isabella to Louis Bennett, a man whose presence seemed to promise a renewal of joy. Louis, a soft-spoken Briton, carried with him a legacy of adventure and ambition. His childhood had been spent between the green hills of the United Kingdom and the sunlit expanses of Australia, granting him a unique perspective and dual citizenship. Educated at the esteemed Camborne School of Mines, Louis was poised for success in engineering, yet his path veered toward entrepreneurship. Louis's venture into solar panel manufacturing in Australia flourished beyond expectation, his intelligence and charm propelling him to new heights. The success of his business inspired a transcontinental leap into the American market, where he established his headquarters in Florida. Despite his professional triumphs, a void lingered in his personal life, driving him to seek companionship in the digital realm. In a world where virtual introductions have become commonplace, Louis's quest for love unfolded with unexpected complexities. The intersection of his life with Isabella's seemed serendipitous, a convergence of 2 souls searching for solace. Yet, beneath the veneer of success and charm, lay shadows of uncertainty and secrets waiting to unravel. As their story unfolds, it becomes a poignant reminder that even amidst the promise of new beginnings, the human heart remains an enigma, caught between the pursuit of happiness and the shadows of past scars. In the vast digital landscape where people seek connection, Louis found himself adrift. Hours passed as he scrolled through countless profiles, searching for a glimmer of that elusive spark. Yet time and again, he was met with profiles that failed to ignite his interest or, ironically, left him feeling overshadowed by their intensity. It seemed as if the digital world was a vast ocean, and he was a solitary sailor, navigating without a compass. Fate, however, has a way of intervening when least expected. On one seemingly ordinary day, a profile emerged from the digital depths that would change the course of his journey. Her name was Isabella Rodriguez. In her photograph, there was a radiance, a confidence that struck him with a familiarity akin to the allure of a world-renowned starlet, Jennifer Lopez. It was this captivating image that compelled him to reach out, sending a message that would become the first line in a new chapter of his life. From that moment, a correspondence began that defied the superficiality often found in online interactions. Their messages were not mere exchanges, they were dialogues that stretched into the early hours of the morning, rich with emotion and depth. Isabella, with a candidness that was both rare and refreshing, shared stories of her life in Colombia, her aspirations of forging a new path in America, and the arduous journey of mastering a new language. She spoke of her past relationships with an openness that laid bare her vulnerabilities, including the long, painful process of her divorce. Louis found himself captivated not only by her stories, but by the raw honesty with which she told them. Her transparency was a beacon, drawing him closer. The finalization of Isabella's divorce with William seemed to signal the dawn of a new era, one filled with potential and promise. For Isabella, the end of her marriage was a relief, a closing of one chapter and the anticipation of a fresh start. She was weary of the solitude, the heartache, and the battles she had fought alone. In Louis, she saw a glimmer of hope, a man whose charm and adventurous spirit promised a life far removed from the struggles of her past. When Louis extended an invitation to meet in the tangible world beyond their screens, she accepted without hesitation. This decision set her on a path across continents, taking her to places she had only dreamed of: England, Australia, and even the exotic shores of Thailand. In his desire to impress, Louis made a grand gesture that spoke volumes of his commitment. He purchased a catamaran, a sleek vessel christened Surf into Summer, with dreams of sailing the Caribbean alongside Isabella. For Louis, this was more than a romantic gesture. It was a realization of a childhood fantasy. As a boy who often felt out of place due to his family's frequent relocations, he had found solace in the adventures, hinted vivid pictures of danger and discovery that he longed to experience firsthand. The voyages with Isabella began as he had imagined, magical escapades filled with the allure of the open sea. Each journey was a tapestry of cherished moments, woven with the thrill of exploration and the warmth of companionship. Yet beneath the surface of this idyllic existence, Isabella began to sense an undercurrent of unease. Despite the lavish travels and apparent freedom, a question lingered in her mind. How did Louis sustain such a lifestyle without the visible demands of work? Louis's explanation was simple yet enigmatic. He assured her that his business was self-sustaining, a well-oiled machine that required little from him. His reassurances were laced with humor, often accompanied by a casual dismissal of her concerns. "Don't worry, love," he would say with a smile. "I inherited a fortune. Money will never be our concern." For a time, Isabella accepted his words as truth, allowing herself to be swept away by the romance of their adventures. Yet the seeds of doubt had been planted, and as their journey continued, they would grow, challenging the foundation of their seemingly perfect world. In the labyrinth of human relationships, the pursuit of truth often reveals more than we seek, and the heart, in its quest for understanding, must navigate the delicate balance between trust and skepticism. In the golden haze of July 2016, a new chapter began for Louis and Isabella, a chapter that promised hope, love, and the unparalleled joy of parenthood. Their lives were forever transformed by the arrival of their first child, a daughter they named Amelia. This tiny being became the center of their universe, binding their hearts with a love so profound that it seemed unbreakable. Yet, as with all journeys into the realm of parenthood, the arrival of Amelia brought with it not only immense joy, but also unforeseen challenges. The couple, once united by shared dreams, soon found themselves at odds. Disagreements over seemingly trivial matters escalated into heated arguments, and those arguments gradually carved deep chasms between them. The most significant rift arose from their conflicting visions of where Amelia should grow up. Louis, with roots deeply embedded in the sunburnt landscapes of Australia, yearned for his daughter to experience the warmth of his homeland and the embrace of his extended family. Isabella, however, was resolute in her desire for Amelia to grow up in America, the land where she had toiled tirelessly to forge a new life and call home. After much deliberation and compromise, in 2017, the family chose Florida as their new abode. Though the decision was fraught with tension, it marked a tentative step towards reconciliation. In an attempt to reignite their fading romance, they chose to formalize their union in marriage. Isabella, ever the dreamer, envisioned a honeymoon that would rekindle the spark of their early days, a voyage on the open sea, filled with the kind of magic that had drawn them together in the first place. Louis, passionate about his sailing adventures, promised her that dream aboard his cherished catamaran. True to his word, in late April, 2IR journey across the azure expanse of the Caribbean seemed idyllic. Their social media accounts painted a picture of blissful escapades, with images of sun-drenched beaches and mesmerizing tropical sunsets. The world saw a couple deeply in love, exploring paradise hand in hand. But this facade of happiness was soon shattered by an unsettling silence. Weeks passed without any updates. Concerned friends and family wondered about their well-being. Finally, Isabella reappeared online, informing her loved ones that they were in Cuba and intended to return to Florida soon, though she was uncertain about the specifics. She explained the sporadic communication as a result of poor signal and cautioned that they might go silent again. Then, on the fateful night of May 15th, the serenity of the sea was pierced by a distress call to the United States Coast Guard. Louis Bennett's voice crackled over the radio waves, a plea for help. He was alone, adrift on a life raft amidst the vast, unforgiving ocean. Rescue teams were dispatched with urgency, driven by the pressing question that weighed heavily on everyone's mind. Where was Isabella? Louis was eventually discovered near the Bahamas, solitary and adrift. His catamaran had vanished beneath the waves, yet the life raft he clung to was curiously well stocked with supplies and personal effects. Once ashore, Louis recounted the harrowing events of May 14. He described a day of relentless toil at sea, culminating in his decision to seek respite below deck, entrusting the vessel's helm to Isabella. But his slumber was violently disrupted by a cacophonous crash, a sound that reverberated through the hull, shaking him awake. In a panic, he called out for Isabella, only to be met with a haunting silence. The sea, once their haven, had swallowed her presence, leaving behind a void that no words could fill. As Louis recounted his ordeal, the mystery of Isabella's fate hung in the air, a poignant reminder of the sea's unpredictable nature and the fragile bonds that tether us to one another in the vastness of existence. When Louis emerged onto the deck, the scene was eerily silent, punctuated only by the relentless waves. Isabella was nowhere to be found, as if swallowed by the sea itself. The impact that had roused him from sleep had left a gaping wound in the hull, water cascading in with a ferocity that spelled imminent doom for the vessel. Louis surmised that Isabella, caught unawares by the violent collision, must have been hurled overboard. Yet, comforted by the knowledge that she wore a life jacket, he clung to the hope that she would soon reappear amidst the tumultuous waters. Faced with the immediate peril of a rapidly sinking boat and acutely aware of the presence of their infant child, Louis made a swift decision. He gathered his most prized possessions and abandoned ship for the relative safety of a nearby life raft. However, When rescuers finally located him, it was not merely Isabella's absence that piqued their curiosity. The life raft, instead of being a vessel of survival, was a floating testament to Louis's priorities. It brimmed with personal effects, clothes, electronics, and even a delicate tea set, but conspicuously lacked any items that might aid in locating his missing wife. It seemed as though Louis had never truly anticipated her rescue. This was but the first of many unsettling revelations. Among his belongings, investigators discovered several aluminum tubes, each concealing a cache of silver coins. Initially dismissed as inconsequential, these tubes would later fuel growing suspicions. Meanwhile, the search for Isabella intensified. The Coast Guard orchestrated a comprehensive rescue operation, deploying helicopters and boats across the vast expanse of the Bahamian waters. Yet despite their exhaustive efforts, Isabella remained elusive, a ghost in the ocean. The mystery deepened with the discovery of the couple's catamaran. Contrary to Louis's account of a vessel shattered upon treacherous reefs, rescuers found the boat in surprisingly good condition. There were no rocks in the vicinity, and the catamaran, though partially submerged, was largely intact. This starkly contradicted Louis's narrative of a calamitous accident. Divers dispatched to investigate the scene uncovered a damning anomaly. The holes in the hull were not the work of nature's fury, but rather bore the telltale marks of deliberate sabotage, punched from within. This revelation unraveled the fabric of Louis's story, casting a long shadow of doubt over his version of events. Adding to the enigma were the open escape hatches, a glaring anomaly for any seasoned sailor. Such hatches are meant to be sealed tight, preventing water ingress. Their open state suggested a deliberate attempt to expedite the boat's sinking, contradicting Louis's claim of a side escape. Even more perplexing was Louis's failure to activate the emergency beacon or use the satellite phone, lifelines that could have summoned help in mere minutes. This negligence painted a picture of premeditation rather than panic. As the days wore on, the evidence increasingly pointed towards a grim possibility, that Louis had orchestrated the catamaran's demise. Yet, one haunting question lingered. Where was Isabella? By May 17th, the relentless search continued, with rescuers scouring the ocean's vastness, clinging to the hope of uncovering the truth. In the face of mounting evidence, the ocean remained silent, guarding its secrets. The sea, eternal and enigmatic, stood as a testament to humanity's unending quest for truth amidst the depths of uncertainty. It had been 120 hours since the vessel sank beneath the relentless waves. In the unforgiving expanse of open water, a person's survival prospects decrease precipitously after a mere 13 hours. Each passing moment drained a bit more hope from the hearts of those waiting for a miracle. On the 18th of May, the official search was abandoned, the sea retaining its secrets. Isabella was never to be found. Her absence loomed large in the lives left behind, an absence that spoke volumes in its silence. Meanwhile, Louis had already returned home on the 15th, as if Isabella's disappearance had left no mark on his conscience. This unsettled him. Louis booked a solitary ticket back to Australia for the 19th of May, a decision that seemed to betray an expectation of finality, no rescue, no reunion, no miraculous return. As the days unfolded, Louis's intentions became clearer. He pursued Isabella's death certificate with fervor, a document that would unlock the life insurance payout he so eagerly sought. Yet the insurance company stood firm, denying his claim. Thwarted, Louis turned his focus to Isabella's parents, demanding custody of their young daughter, Amelia. The bereaved parents, shattered and enraged, held him responsible for the tragedy and resolutely refused his demands. Undeterred, Louis sought the aid of law enforcement, and with their backing, he eventually took Amelia into his custody. By the 28th of May, Amelia found herself in the care of Louis's parents in the United Kingdom, while Louis himself flew back to Florida, his singular pursuit of the insurance money undiminished. To the investigators, Louis's actions were a tapestry of suspicion, each thread weaving a narrative that suggested he knew far more than he revealed about Isabella's fate. Yet, with no tangible evidence, their hands were tied. The catamaran, the stage where the drama had unfolded, lay beyond reach, submerged in the ocean's depths, its secrets sealed by water and time. Any clues it might have harbored were lost to the abyss. Thus, the investigators redirected their scrutiny to the domestic sphere Louis and Isabella once shared. They combed through every inch, scrutinized his phone, examined personal belongings, and it was here that shadows began to lengthen. At a cursory glance, the scene seemed innocuous. True, the couple had ceased communication for weeks, and Louis's unexplained absences were frequent. Yet these were not definitive proof of wrongdoing. The breakthrough came in the form of hidden recording devices, capturing Isabella's voice, a voice that trembled with fear and desperation. In these recordings, Isabella recounted the threats she faced from her husband. Her words painted a portrait of a woman ensnared in a life fraught with danger. Louis had allegedly threatened her life on multiple occasions. This was corroborated by testimonies from friends to whom Isabella had confided her plight. Despite the peril, she harbored a fragile hope that change was possible, that perhaps, given time, Louis might alter his ways. Tragically, time ran out before she could see any such transformation. As investigators delved deeper, the contours of Louis's motivations began to emerge with chilling clarity. His actions and the trail he left behind hinted at a cold calculation, an orchestrated narrative of disappearance that would serve his ends. Yet, despite the mounting circumstantial evidence, a definitive conclusion remained elusive. In the end, the case of Isabella's disappearance was a tapestry woven from threads of tragedy, suspicion, and the relentless pursuit of truth. It serves as a somber reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the shadows that can linger beneath the surface. The sea, vast and impenetrable, keeps its secrets well, leaving us to ponder the intricate dance between hope, love, and the darker facets of the human soul. Amidst the gentle sway of the ocean and the whispering winds that echoed across the waters, a far more sinister tale was unfolding beneath the surface. Entwined with the salt and spray was the story of Louis, a man whose financial ruin was as deep and unfathomable as the sea itself. His life, a tapestry of unpaid debts and reckless abandon, painted a portrait of a man adrift, both literally and metaphorically. The weight of unpaid real estate loans, mounting electricity bills, and credit cards stretched beyond their limits pressed heavily upon him. Yet, rather than confronting this avalanche of financial obligations, Louis chose to turn his back, retreating into a world of escapism. Anchored by his catamaran, he spent his days adrift on the water, unemployed yet unfettered, indulging in costly pastimes such as Thai boxing, while the world around him crumbled. His partner, Isabella, bore the brunt of this disarray, striving tirelessly to hold together the fraying threads of their life. Her efforts, however, were met not with gratitude, but with further demands. Louis, shirking responsibility, insisted that Isabella abandon her maternal duties and seek employment to alleviate his financial burdens, all while he pursued what he deemed more significant endeavors. The facade of Louis's life began to unravel when investigators delved into his financial dealings. From the years 2014 to 2016, a series of international money transfers totaling nearly $160,000 came to light. This revelation was merely the tip of the iceberg. The rare silver coins discovered in Louis's backpack after a maritime mishap were not just treasures of the deep but illicit gains. Their story traced back to a ship named Kitty, where a crew member, during a fleeting moment of opportunity, pilfered the coins and entrusted them to Louis, who harbored ambitions of selling them. This discovery added another layer to the complex mosaic of Louis's life, revealing a man with secrets as deep as the ocean itself. Ultimately, it was not the misfortune at sea that led to Louis's incarceration, but the tangled web of smuggling that ensnared him. The search of his home by authorities uncovered not only the purloined silver coins, but also haunting recordings of Isabella's voice, elements that sealed his fate. For the crime of smuggling, he received a 7-month prison sentence, yet this was only the beginning of a more harrowing narrative. While Louis served his time, the shadows of his past loomed larger. Authorities charged him with involuntary manslaughter concerning Isabella's mysterious disappearance. The investigation was exhaustive, piecing together fragments of evidence, documents, witness accounts, and recordings. The conclusion they reached was as chilling as the ocean's depths. During a fateful sailing, this discovery ignited a confrontation, escalating into violence. The details of that day remain shrouded in mystery. Did Louis, in a moment of rage, strike her with fatal force? Did he cast her into the sea, condemning her to a watery grave? The truth remains elusive, yet the outcome was tragically certain. Isabella vanished, never to return. Isabella saw an opportunity. By fabricating a narrative of a tragic maritime accident, he stood to gain not only from Isabella's life insurance but also from the catamaran's policy. 2 claims, a single deception. Yet, despite the gravity of the accusations, prosecutors found themselves at an impasse, unable to definitively prove his culpability. In the stillness of the sea, where the horizon blurs into the sky, the story of Louis and Isabella remains a haunting reminder of the depths to which human ambition and avarice can sink. It is a tale of love lost to the siren call of greed, where the truth lies submerged, obscured by the shifting tides of fate and fortune. A seemingly spontaneous act, a crime of opportunity, unfolded beneath the vast, indifferent expanse of the open sea. For those who knew the tale, it was shrouded in ambiguity, a tapestry of conflicting narratives. The grieving family whispered of a cover-up, their voices tinged with disbelief and sorrow. Louis, at the heart of this storm, lamented his misfortune, a man ensnared by the unpredictable tides of fate. The prosecution's case for premeditated murder, however, floundered against the rocky shoals of insubstantial evidence. With the burden of proof a daunting specter, they extended to Louis a plea deal, a lifeline in turbulent waters. By accepting, Louis would face a mere 8 years of incarceration, a decision that left lingering doubts in its wake. Was this an admission of guilt or a pragmatic choice to avoid the unpredictable whims of a jury? The crux of the matter lay in a solitary recording, a volatile moment captured in time where Louis's voice, marred by anger, uttered threats against Isabella's life. Her family, devastated and seething with anger, could scarcely fathom the leniency of the legal outcome. Yet, they recognized a grim truth. Without the plea, Louis might have evaded justice entirely, serving only a brief sentence for smuggling. November of 2018 saw Louis Bennett sentenced to 8 years behind bars. The court decreed that Isabella's assets and the coveted insurance money would bypass Louis, flowing instead to their daughter, Amelia. Furthermore, the judge mandated that Louis provide financial restitution to Amelia, acknowledging the indelible psychological wounds etched into her young soul. Thus, the tale concluded. A narrative of tragedy, a family fractured, and a truth submerged beneath the ocean's depths, perhaps never to be unearthed. In the end, the sea holds its secrets close, leaving us to ponder the mysteries of justice and the human heart.